Hey everybody, happy Thursday. I am Haley Gray. I'm the group owner in the Women's Entrepreneur Network. I am a digital marketing strategist, Duke MBA, best-selling author, all of the things. And I work with small businesses on their marketing efforts. Wanted to talk to you tonight a little bit about a topic that is near and dear to my heart because I have made every single one of these mistakes, and I see my clients getting burned by this. Let's talk about launches here for a minute. Have you ever tried to do a launch and had it fail? And maybe even had it fail badly? Put in the comments if you have done a launch and it's failed, or if you have done a launch and it has succeeded. So when I'm talking about a launch, I'm talking about selling a course or even selling products. So like you launch a new website and you start selling handmade items or t-shirts or whatever. And, just let me know in the comments if you have done a launch and how it went. Did it go good? Did it go not so good? So what I see a lot of times for people when they are doing launches that, they really get frustrated. And when I talk frustrated, I mean really hella frustrated. And why is that? Because launches, by their very nature, take time, money, or both, time and money. And unfortunately, there is no way around this equation. You can do ads, you can connect with people, and you need to do that over and over and over again and have a following. I have seen people who, and I've done it myself, y'all, my first launch was a complete and total flop. It was like hella expensive. I wasted way too much money. And I could cry now in retrospect because I was working with a business coach who basically sanctioned this approach. He was like, oh yeah, post your stuff everywhere, send everybody straight to a landing page. You're selling a course for $9.97. And anybody want to take a guess as to how many sales I got? I got one sale. I had one person who bought a course from me. The reason that it failed was that I was driving cold traffic using ads straight to a sales page. There was no warm-up process along the way. There was no get to know you. There was no interaction with people along the way, right? That's one of the chief problems I see with people. You think that you can go into the online world because it's this online nirvana of places, and there are riches and them thar hills. You hear it all the time. You see people who are being really successful at it, or people that you think are being super successful at it. And yes, there are probably 1% to 2% of people who are being very successful with launches. The reason that they are being successful with launches is that they're putting time into it, they're putting money into it, and they are having a very successful funnel. What kind of a funnel am I talking about? I'm talking about somebody who sends traffic to a webinar where you get to know people, or people get to know you a bit more, and then they can book a call with you. Or I'm talking about, hey, do a challenge, 3 or 5 days, 7 days, and then get people to book a call with you, right? There's a warming up process. Now, how do you get people into that challenge? That is part of that time or money kind of equation, and probably both, right? You can drive ads to get people onto a webinar, although that's gotten pretty expensive lately. You can drive traffic, cold traffic, to a challenge. That's a little less expensive, right? Because when people are getting a workshop, when people are getting something, out of you before they have to sign up for and pay for something. A lot of times they are starting to warm up to you. Is that getting to know you, that know, like, and trust process. So when I see people really, really fail with launches, what I'm seeing is somebody who wants to start a launch of a brand new product site, and they want to throw $500 to $1,000 at it in ads. And then they wonder why they're not getting tens of thousands of dollars in sales, right? Why isn't my money machine meter going? Because here's the reality. People have to know, like, and trust you before they're going to buy from you. You know, the reason we buy the Coach bags is because we're familiar with the brand. You know, we see the Coach ads over and over and over again. And sometimes we have to see those ads for weeks before we actually go and buy that silly Coach bag. I am the uber consumer of all things Coach, whether it is finding the bleeping things on consignment or it is, you know, buying them on the store. So, you know, I have my Coach stuff, right? But the thing is that you get to know the brand before you buy from it. People have to know your brand and they have to be willing to buy from you. But there's this building up process. Now, the other thing I see people do is that they assume that if you've seen it once, you're going to buy. Y'all, being online, and hey, Patty, good to see you. Tell me about launching. Good, bad, indifferent. You know, you can't just throw stuff at the wall and hope that people are going to remember you. Here's the deal. Humans online, I saw this study in Forbes like 3 years ago, and I think it is so appropriate. Humans online, because we are constantly multitasking, raise your hands if you guys are multitasking. Are you multitasking right now? Are you doing 2 or 3 things at once? And I'm going to guess that every single person out there who's listening to this video is actually doing like 3 things at once, except for maybe one person. That's fine. Raise your hand if you are multitasking right now. Here's the deal. That multitasking has us like, and it does things to our brains. Patty says, yep, there you go. You know, multitasking does these things to our brain. There's a lot of studies that show that multitasking does stuff to our brains. Here's the deal. It's like being high on marijuana perpetually. So we may not have the munchies perpetually, but the reality is that our brains are completely distracted, that we are multi-processing, right? Yes, you're multitasking, right? And I'm not criticizing you for multitasking. It's you have to understand that people online, people on Facebook, especially if you're using Facebook or any other social media platform to market your business, are multitasking. They're doing 3 things at once, which means that, you know, where it might take you normally, if you meet somebody in person, 3 or 5 impressions before they're going to really be interested in meeting with you. Oh no. If you are online, triple, quadruple, quintuple that number. It takes 17 impressions before somebody can even remember you. They don't even know who you are. They don't even know what you do. And I meet people in person all the time and they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, I do digital marketing. I do websites. I do Facebook groups and social media. And they're like, oh. And then they'll come back 6 months later and go, what do you do? And I'm like, I do marketing. I do websites. I do search engine optimization. I do social media. And even meeting people in person, they don't always remember what the heck it is that you do or what the heck it is that you sell. It takes that reinforcement over and over and over again. And so it's like that singer, right? So imagine that you're Dolly Parton and you're singing 9 to 5 over and over and over and over again, right? And you finally hear it like on the 20th try, and it finally catches in your head, right? Well, Dolly has probably been singing that song like 500,000 bajillion gajillion times. And she's probably like totally sick of it by that point. But the thing is that you've only heard it like 8 times and you finally just clued in and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Customers have told you that they wait weeks, months until they give you their first order to make sure that you will stick around. Yes. And I have clients who have literally had storefronts, who have storefronts, because we work with a range of different clients, right? Who literally have had people driving past their store for 2 or 3 years before they decide to stop in and buy something. You know, the funny thing about that is, if you're waiting 2 to 3 years to see if somebody's going to be able to stick around like this, oh my gosh, right? You're going to freaking starve to death before somebody decides that they know, like, and trust you enough to actually buy from you. And this is the problem with launches. Because here's the deal. I've worked with several people this year who want that instant result, and they want it for bargain basement dollars. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen, because in order to get the right number of impressions with people, in order to get that visibility, in order to build that platform, you're not going to get enough visibility and enough platform and enough repetitions in there in less than a few months, right? If you're going to get seen, you have to show up everywhere, and you have to do it like you're planning a siege. Okay? If you're going to do it fast, you're going to be everywhere, all over the place. Establishing your brand absolutely takes time. It does. And when you start doing a launch, here's the deal. When you start launching, you know, you're either doing things organically, like you're getting onto podcasts and you're getting onto summits and you're posting in groups and you're doing stuff. You know, it takes time for people to even remember who the heck you are. If you're paying for ads, y'all, I'm not lying when I'm saying you need to budget probably $10,000 to $20,000 for ads if you're going to do this using ads. And Patty, this is exactly why I tell you to follow up like crazy. Precisely. If you want your launch to succeed, you have to follow up like crazy. You have to talk to people. There's another reason that a lot of launches fail. You're not talking to enough people, right? You know, statistically, you're not going to close 100% of your sales. I don't care how good you are at sales. And the newer we are in business, the more sucky we are at sales in general. And I say we in general because, y'all, when I first started doing sales, I sucked big time. Really, really, really big time. I suck slightly less now. Okay? But the reality is, I'm an engineer, I'm a computer programmer with an MBA with a ton of focus on entrepreneurship and innovation and marketing. So I have the experience. I've built websites for 20 some odd years. I've built really, really big websites and website apps and portlets and applets and all kinds of crazy stuff. But it was never about the selling. And guys, guess what? I'm an introvert. And me in a network meeting 5 years ago was actually a really funny thing to behold, because I couldn't network worth jack. I'm a little bit better at it now. A little bit, but not like perfect. So it takes time to build those skills. So if you are talking to people, you still have to talk to a bunch of people in order to get your sales, right? So if you're doing a launch to sell Christmas tree ornaments or to sell lanterns, Y'all can tell Meg I'm calling her out again. You have to talk to a lot of people. And it doesn't really matter what you're selling. You have to talk to enough people that you get enough yeses, because you're going to get a ton of no's. And when you first get started, people don't know you, right? They have to make sure you're going to stick around, and they have to build that trust so that they're going to actually decide to buy from you in the first place. And this is why things fail, right? Cold traffic to a sales page is a really, really hard sale, especially if people don't know who you are. I'm about at that point now where I will not do cold traffic to a sales page. Like to a, here's a $997 sales page. Why? Because it's a bunch of baloney. You could throw $30,000 in ads, ask me, I've done it, to it and have it fail. Because people don't know who you are. They haven't built that know, like, and trust factor with you. So there are times where no amount of advertising is going to get people to buy if you're sending them to a sales page, because they don't know who you are. Now, if you were Tony Robbins, you have an established brand, right? He has taken the time to establish his brand and people know who he is. So of course, if you see an ad for an event or a thing for him, you're much more likely to go because he's already got that recognized brand. And this is something that I see people struggle with mightily, especially in the online world, because here's the thing. There is this promise of the great, wonderful world of the online world. Okay? There is this promise of making 6 or 7 figures in the online world. Does it happen? Absolutely. Do I do it? Yes. However, I've worked my butt off to get here. I've also established my brand. I also talk to a lot of people. I've also built a Facebook group with 70,000 members. And I talk to people all day long because I'm building know, like, and trust with people long before we start talking about, hey, what kind of website do you want? And it takes time. I've started talking a lot about you have to have a platform and you have to have a network and you have to have a reputation before you get the clients. Establishing your brand takes time. It's a huge deal. It's not always easy. And in fact, I would say it's rarely easy. It requires persistence. It requires planning. You have to have some kind of follow up and follow through. I see people all the time come online and they get discouraged. Because why? They post 3 times and then they quit. Oh, sorry, nobody's going to buy from you. Y'all, probably 10 people saw those posts, maybe 50. And given the whole comment that I was making earlier about people with multitasking and having marijuana on the brain and what their brains are doing while they're multitasking, thus you have the problem. You came online, you didn't stick with it, and you're not visible enough, and people don't know who you are, so they're not buying. I did it. I know. I've got the scars to prove it. Lord, if I could just tell you guys some of the crap I've done trying to grow my business. And some of the promises that people make you, right? I mean, I'll be honest. Like if you look at Jeff Walker's product launch formula, go read the book. It's a really, really awesome formula. But you still have to have the platform, the network, and the reputation in order to get the clients. You're not going to escape it. How do you get that platform? Well, you start posting. You start interacting. You start private messaging people. I hear from a lot of people, well, I don't really want to do that. Yeah, neither did I. Do you want to have a business or not? You know, and that's where the point where you decide to do the things that make you uncomfortable, that are exhausting sometimes. And you get creative about it. And you research and you find the tools that might let you do it easier, right? Like Canva can allow you to create graphics in bulk. You can hire somebody to help you write copy posts. copy for posts. So you can do a ton of things to make things better. You know, this is a wonderful, wonderful world. We can make a ton of money in the online world. Build your platform, build your network, build your reputation, and the clients do follow. How long does it take? Not very, actually. And in fact, if you decided to do it in 3 or 4 weeks, you absolutely could have a full client roster in 3 to 4 weeks. How? By sharing a crap ton of content and being absolutely persistent in about 3 to 5 groups. It might take close to 24/7 interaction with people, but you could do it. So it doesn't have to take forever to get to a full client roster. You know, getting enough impressions, getting people to actually talk to you, staying on brand, staying on topic, and turning people into clients. It's a beautiful thing. And that is why people really, really struggle with launches. One of the things I'd like to do is invite you guys to book a free call with me. This is not a sales pitch. This is a me getting to know your business and you better. People who generally take me up on these calls are trying to figure out where the heck they're going from here in their business. I don't really have any motivation to sell you stuff on the call, except if you ask me about stuff that I sell, right? It's really an opportunity to get to know me better. And Patty, you would really love a full client roster, right? So you should be talking about high performance stuff everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Everywhere that you can possibly find people who could be good referral partners or who could potentially hire you. If you're not posting 3 to 5 times a day, I want to know why. So there are lots of things that you can do in order to grow your business and build that visibility. And you can do it organically. You don't have to spend $20,000 on ads. You can. That's one way to do it. But it's going to take regular, consistent, inspired action. And that's about all I got to say on it. But when I see people failing at launches, it really, really breaks my heart because they almost always give up way too soon. They assume that what they're doing is not working. And literally just about the time that we are starting to make traction, they're like, oh, this isn't working. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Posting 3 to 5 times different posts. You can rotate similar posts eventually, but you're going to be building a lot of content, Patty. You're probably going to be building 100 posts a month. Yep. So 3 to 5 times a day with regular posts, and it should all be all kinds of different content. And you can use the same content in different groups, but I would be posting in like 3 to 5 different groups too. More if you can handle it. I mean, how determined are you to get out there and get seen? And then do your lives and keep doing those lives. So I am starting to shuffle my cards. These are the Love Your Inner Goddess card deck. Let me know what card you would like for me to pull from you. So I always end, I don't always, but I frequently will end my lives with a card pull, with an oracle card pull. I think it helps us set an intention and move energy along in the direction we're trying to go. Patty says top. Okay. We got you top, my friend. Ooh. This one's about fair game. Yep, I hear you. Lioness. Your ability to love yourself and be empowered is maturing. You are learning that the real beauty and value of you comes from within. You are learning to rise above emotional game playing with honesty. You can enjoy your attractiveness as a person without allowing it to control your life or your sense of self-worth. If others try to control you through their opinions about your appearance or in any other way, you will be strong enough to recognize it as their issue and nothing to do with you. Others will be attracted to your true inner beauty, appreciating your loveliness and enjoying how it helps them feel good about who they are too. Ooh, that's an interesting card. And I think it's a very appropriate timing. Yep, and let's manifest that things go smoothly in bringing in new clients this weekend. You know, bringing in new clients is really about how many people are you willing to talk to. Any other card pulls? I can do a couple more if somebody else would also like a card pull. I can understand also if you are listening while the kids are going to sleep or the husband or whoever is going to sleep. So any hoodles. I'm going to do one more card pull just for fun and giggles. And I'm kind of feeling like this one right here wants to come out. Mm-hmm. 43, Madonna of Roses. Okay, here you go. There's a way to be fierce that doesn't betray the kindness of your heart. When you know that to enable someone to behave badly towards you doesn't help them or you, you don't need to subject yourself to unnecessary guilt for taking care of yourself or fear that you aren't being compassionate. You are teaching yourself and others the truth that is love-based in respect, and that trying to take what doesn't belong to you through any form of aggression or manipulation, seduction, or persuasion is neither loving nor respectful. Thorns are sharp because they need to be. Don't diminish the beauty of the rose. They protect it. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful night. I hope that this content is valuable for you. And we will talk soon. Love you guys. Thank you and many, many blessings. Thanks. Bye-bye.